Okay. We have the white pieces. And based on this, I'm assuming that we're going to see d6 here. You can always see d5. It's possible, but it is just, yeah, not likely. Okay. I think we could play d5 here. I mean, the guys usually go for e5. I find it a little bit weird that the opponent has done this all before that. So we're just going to castle. We can take this. And yeah, I would say this position is exactly how you'd expect it to look. Remember, this is not our, this is the system we're supposed to play here against d6, not going with bishop d3 and knight d2. So I think that's good. We've got that. Okay, queen e7. I'm really looking at knight here as a potential move, but maybe like simpler, slower moves should be played in the meantime. I think it might be time for something like this. I feel like e4 may have been a small mistake there. Knight takes e4 at least was in the air. But yeah, normally we'd want to play bishop f1, e4. Let's see what he does here. I assume bishop takes will be played. Okay, knight takes. How do we want to do this? I wonder if this move can be played. Maybe not, but we'll do it because it looks kind of interesting. I think we're ahead material after all this, but I don't, to be honest with you, I don't really know what just happened there. Okay. Yeah, I wish there was like not really anything too amazing here. Queen e7 was actually a really nice move for us, but he's stopped it with that. So I guess we're just ahead here, but not, yeah, nothing too crazy. So I guess let's take queen a5. Looks good. Queen c7 coming. You kind of have to play bishop e7 here, I would guess. It is fork. I know it doesn't feel that impressive, but it is a fork. Okay, let's go here. Not gonna pre-move this because you just never know how desperate your opponent is, and I'm not trying to find out. At least not the hard way. G3 is the feel-good move of the year. I can't wait to play it. Here he's got that one. You take this. Okay, here it is. Wow. We will never get mated on a dark square or anything like that, so feels pretty good. We could go like b4 first, maybe. Maybe check. Maybe rook a8 here? No. Okay, it was like that. I think we just take it. Queen f3 here. And that'll be GG. At least we win the first game of the session. Never know how it's going to start. Felt a little sluggish there. GG to Themba. As for our Zukertort here, we could tell from this setup that our opponent was going to play d6 and not d5. At least it was very, very likely. And we usually go for knight c3, bishop e2, and always pawn in front of the knight. You'd never have the knight on c3 with the pawn back here. So yeah, it's just the setup we go for. And at least the piece placement from there is not too complicated. Okay, we got the white pieces again. We already see d6. So I think we might just be getting a similar setup here. We'll wait and see. Maybe black wants to play bishop out to g4, but I'd be shocked if black played a different idea than that. It could be a weird way of transposing to like a Philidor setup with maybe knight d7, e5. But the nice thing for us is what we're playing doesn't change. Okay, this guy's just not here. Well, this is pretty damn easy. This is pretty damn easy. Look. I mean, what do you want from me? Some speedy victories. Yes, the sun is helping. It's nice. It's actually just a beautiful day. Just a beautiful day. It was, I wouldn't say it's warm, but it's finally nice weather. He saw the CZ and wanted nothing to do with it. It's funny because at this point we haven't even, it's not even a full confirmed CZ. Yes, Tim, you understand. The white games are being wasted. We have our opponents, I think, are protesting here. They're not just abandoning the games, they're abandoning the games with the white pieces. Brutal. So when it comes time for the portion on YouTube, it's just going to be a bunch of abandoned games. They know what they're doing here. This is a coordinated attack for sure. Okay, we did get the white pieces. We are seeing quite a lot of this, which means we have quite a lot of this, let's say, system to play ourselves. Okay, knight there. I think I'm gonna just leave things as they are. Bishop f5. Surprising move. Okay. Probably the rooks into the middle. H3 is always one of those useful moves. Rook AC1. Takes, looks like it wins a pawn here, so I think we're gonna go and do that. Otherwise, I guess we'll just take back, double the rooks, and play a nice simple game. Now, we are not always going to have the option here, but if we did, what pieces would we like to trade objectively? It's kind of nice to think about those things sometimes. Let's see. Do we want to take like that? It is a real consideration. But I'll go like this and give maybe my opponent the opportunity. Let's play h3. H2 is just always going to be useful. Yeah, we got nothing too special going on with this position. He's going to take. Makes sense. Makes sense. I guess at this point, knight takes probably makes a little bit more sense. Yeah, so I actually really want to trade this bishop. Probably for the bishop, although not necessarily the easiest thing. Okay, well, the backwards knight move strikes again. Bring the knight back out. I think my queen's quite well placed here. Not sure that we want to move it. 95 doesn't really threaten anything. Okay, I think this is a capture. Like queen, definitely queen d5 comes to mind, e6, queen d6. And yeah, the bishop is on the best square to watch this knight. And king g2 here. Queen somewhere like that, then just queen d5. Just make sure we don't get forked here. Although even our other move, queen d5, would have covered that. I think we can just take queen check and queen back to d4. I can see that. I can see like some sort of knight d7 in the future. But we just have to watch out for forks of some of our pieces, and that's about it. Yeah, for example, knight d7, right? Allows queen there, which I don't really care for. Just thinking about queen here, but maybe check and then queen here just kind of seals the deal. He can take this, but obviously taking this with check, maybe that's the way the game ends. We can take this one as well. We're up quite a lot here. Bunch of pawns, piece as well. Get a pawn pushing over here. We want to get a pawn pushing over there. Let's just stabilize. GG. Yeah, not too much happened in this one. Seeing quite a lot of the fianchetto setup. I actually thought that Black would take the knight with his bishop, which he had available for quite some time, but he never did. And I was going to make a few comments about having to play the bishop against the knight, even with the pawns, let's say, on the wrong square. So we would have been in a real, not like a terrible spot, but definitely not ideal. I do think bishop takes f3 is a consideration here. But he never ended up doing it, and okay, then he just blundered a piece, and the game kind of just ended after that. Okay, Sicilian, so can we expect this? No. Okay, it goes d5. These are our first couple moves, pretty much no matter what. Most high-rated players like to get their bishop out before playing e6, so I can only expect more of the same here. Okay, I guess bishop b2, mainly because of the pin. But yeah, we obviously wish we had our our bishop there, that's for sure. Okay, knight d7. I mean, knight here can be played, but a bit more standard is f4. And I wouldn't be too scared of a position like this either. But if he lets me castle, then I certainly will. Okay, goes a6. Obviously b5, but it's not like we can do too much about that. I think it's time for us to castle. Now the question, what do we want to do? f5, e4 seems like it's well met by d4. Rook d1 is always a move. Maybe we can kind of bring the pieces over here. I don't know if rook f3 and rook g3 is actually worth doing. Whoa. Okay. That is provocative. g6. Yeah, with a dark squared bishop on b2 is, like I said, provocative. Oh my goodness. Opening the diagonal as well. I mean, this is just insane. That move made no sense. Oh, okay, yeah. Our guy's falling apart here. Our main character is really crumbling. Yeah, but I mean, it's you just look at the bishop on b2 and how much better it became in the last two moves. g6 and f5 are crazy moves to play with that bishop there. One move makes the king weak, and the other move makes the king weaker and opens the bishop to actually attack those weaknesses. Hey, we get the white pieces again. Our investment earlier paid off. Okay, so c6, definitely we know that black's developing that bishop, like guaranteed. Oh, just bishop takes. Going to get castled here. Queen or rook. I'm never really too sure which one is correct. I'll go with the rook, and let's get the knight into e5. Queen there. It seems like we can go f4. We can also just go queen e2. We don't need to like full commit just yet. We could do this now. Let's see. g6, I wonder. Almost kind of want to go h4, h5. I mean, ooh, okay, that move definitely looks off. Don't know about knight there. f6, yeah, pretty much sacrificing, well, knight takes and queen e6 is just good after f6, but okay, he goes back. It can't be too great. Maybe it's knight d7 in the future, I don't know. Does this help us? I'm not sure that it does. This is a bit annoying, actually. I'm gonna do something a little bit odd. I'm gonna come back with the knight just for the moment. Can't lie, these moves are like, I don't feel like my opponent's doing anything, but man, there's no way I'm playing a4, and b4 I wasn't that keen on, so I think I will bring the pieces back here. Like I actually did rook a1 so quickly, so you know that I really didn't want to move that. 87. I think we're happy to take because we got h5 here, and this should actually be a really good attack. Hopefully, we're able to make something out of it. Okay, yeah, he does go there. Feels that this one just kind of drops the whole game. But the other one, I think we had queen f6 and rook h8, so there wasn't really a nice choice to be made. This one, however, I mean, all my pieces, literally every single one is aimed, you know, at the king, so it's just a disaster. We have d5 here. We also have potentially a more painful move. I don't know. Oh, he has knight d8. Okay. Doesn't really matter. Everything is winning, but yeah, this was what I envisioned when I played it, was that we would win the exchange and then the piece, so I got greedy. Yeah, I think if he takes the rook, it actually makes our life easier. So he's going to do the funny thing where you win material and then resign. GG. Hard to explain this one. It felt like here that we had a very, very nice looking position. And I was just like, g3, h4, king, g2. I felt my opponent was doing absolutely nothing. So for example, here, I felt the pressure and I was like, you know what? Let me just defend this because I didn't see a better way to do it. I'm not here to play c3. Same thing here. I brought my rook to the middle and then I was like, yeah, I admit, you know, I didn't really take that into account. Yes, I could play b4 or a4, but truth is I don't want to. And what has my opponent done in the last couple of moves? Absolutely nothing. I still like my position. So I just didn't want to compromise anything. And I can always bring the knight back, as I did. And then finally I was like, well, we should just take, go h5, rook h1, and we just have a phenomenal position here. Why king g2? Well, I need to play rook h1, right? The whole point of h4 is to play h5 in the future. I played h4 when I couldn't play h5, but I did it knowing that the knight's so strong here that black's going to try to get rid of it with knight d7, and then I'm going to be set up to do it. But playing h5 and taking doesn't do that much for me. But if my king's on g2 and I can play rook h1, then it does a lot. So these moves here were all just setting up for many moves down the line whenever I would eventually have time to play h5. And yeah, it worked very well because if he takes like this, I think he's just mated. All due to those slow moves we played earlier. We'll play d4 and some sort of bishop move here. Yeah, bishop f5 makes sense. Let's try to get this bishop out. I guess I'll play a3. Probably gonna need, you know, pretty much like a rook on c1 in these types of positions. c4 also starts to make a lot more sense. Black will undoubtedly play rook c8. Gotta be careful with moves like knight f3 because it allows his knight into the position as well. Okay. Rook c8 guaranteed, right? No, it goes knight d7. So weird. I guess we'll stick with this. I think we were well within our rights to play knight there, but we'll stick with this move for now. Rook e2 can at least take care of that pawn while being like remotely useful. This bishop will probably need to repurpose itself. Yeah, so here comes queen to b5. I think we're just gonna need to dodge that. We want to keep the queen on the board, right? We're attacking. Okay, h5. I think we're getting to the point where we would, yeah, we would basically consider just kind of going all in with a move like that. So I think we're at that time. Queen here, queen e3. We can also shift the rooks to the f file. We just need to kind of like hold down the position. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to go c3. I think we're running a, you know, big risk here, big risk. But trying to go all in over here. Okay. Knight there. Unfortunately, I think we do need to take it. This bishop is so crucial because if that pawn drops, like, I think we're kind of, yeah, I mean, we're kind of dead. So got to play this move. Required, I think. This one's hit. I mean, a4 is the move we want to play. It does allow queen a3. Maybe we have queen b1. Also rook f2. At least make him defend something. But it's so brutal, right? We just can't play. We can't play g5. If we could play g5, even if I could like sack the pawn to open this, I feel we would have a lot to play for over there. Yeah, I think at least temporarily we're gonna need to play this. I'm waiting for him to sack because I would certainly be sacrificing. On c3. Yeah, he goes here. Yeah, I feel like not sacrificing here is maybe a mistake. Let's try this. Well, we can definitely go back and forth here, but for now we'll do this. I think queen g5 is actually a mistake there. All right, we're getting energetic here. Are we getting mated? It seems like we're getting mated. Unfortunately, it seems like we're getting mated there, so we got to go this way. I suppose this is a reasonably safe pre-move. As is, oh, I was going to say as is that, but queen a1 is there. Yeah, this pre-move's pretty safe as well. We end up getting the win. Wasn't expecting that. I don't remember checking yeah, this is a nice safe pre-move just because we know it trades the queens and we know it's defended, so I may as well pre-move it any chance I get. Yeah, I didn't expect it because I thought I saw like 25 or 20 to 5 seconds, something like that. So it seemed a little out of reach, but at some point you just kind of close your eyes and see what happens. Opponent played pretty nicely. I liked our h5. You know, maybe I wish that perhaps we had chosen to just shuffle the rooks first, because we had a really nice grip on the position here. All the moves were sort of prevented. So I actually thought we were doing really, really well. But a nice reminder maybe that this was a little bit too fast, because I thought that we would have control over this square. But black got 2 pieces plus the queen to d8. It's like 3 pieces. I just can't compete with that. So I think we were all crushing here. But yeah, rook should slide over, make our opponent deal with that. Black can't go and do this because there's no g5 square to control. We've got our pawn here. And when I'm ready and I've shuffled the rooks and I've brought the bishop over, then this starts to make sense. So yeah, I feel like we rushed that idea. And how did this all start? Oh yeah, early bishop f5, which means once again we don't get to thoroughly enjoy the bishop on d3 in this system as we usually do. It's amazing how much better this this position is with the bishop on d3. I feel like without it, it's still good, but not comparable. Like with the bishop, it feels like it's like a free win. Okay, we can play e6 and try to play d5. It's possible this goes a bit more in like a d4 direction, and it does. Okay, gotta unpin ourselves. I'll just go straight for b6. Get castled here. Maybe queen e7 as well. Okay, knight here, at least there seems to be g5. Still risky g5, but yeah, it should be okay. I actually want to move this queen out of the way so we can play knight e4. White's probably going to go bishop g3 at some point. Our c-pawn's being held. Like, you see what I mean? The bishop is so good on this square, but makes sense that white would probably want to trade it away. Instead he doesn't. He goes here. I'm actually thinking that just g6 is a very strong move. I know it feels really weak, but this is kind of well defended. My next move can be queen e6, king g7. Yeah, the knight goes back. I mean, he didn't want to risk losing the bishop in some way there. I think I'm going to go here. I'm almost sure that he's not going to trade. And then we'll just move the queen back. But I was considering going queen e6, but then why not play queen here and then queen e6? I'm not sure. As expected, he does go for bishop g3. I couldn't really do anything about that. I feel like king here is still kind of smart. I can't really tell if f6 is worth playing here. Yeah, because white always has moves like this, and I'm trying my best to avoid playing c5, but at some point we will just have to. Let's go here. Which one? Both recaptures look perfectly fine. I think f4 is kind of the move we want to punch in, but very difficult to make these moves happen nicely. This bishop is just so bad. Let's overload the defense here so that we can kind of reposition. So I think this rook should be here, kind of unclear. But yeah, this rook kind of makes sense here. Bishop a2, maybe f4. Yeah, this move seems correct. We're threatening this. I think the rooks can double here. This h-pawn is pretty well placed. Kind of a bad bishop on b1 all of a sudden. I didn't even realize that it had become so bad from what it once was. I might play c6 at some point just to really make sure there's no threats there. He's taking way too much time on this move. Well, let's make the threat. It's not terribly impressive, but he seemed pretty clueless there, and he's just gonna get back rank mated. Okay. Yeah, for some reason I could sense on his last move that he didn't really have a clue what to do. And despite his h3 snork, it's not enough. We're back to the white pieces here. Interesting, a combination of d5 and g6. You don't see that too often. Okay, interesting that he's gone here. We can take, I'm again going to do something a little bit funny. I'm not going to. I'm going to let these double pawns happen. And surprisingly, he is as well. Oh, okay. I think I actually am going to take this way. It's not that it's always the best, but I don't know. I've kind of come to enjoy these positions just a little bit. I think we actually want to go here without f4. Disappointing, I know. This pawn structure with no knight on f6 has me definitely thinking about h4, h5. So I would say rook e1, maybe bishop rerouting, but h4, h5 definitely comes to mind here. He's going there. Definitely means that queen d5 is on his mind. I'm probably not going to be able to prevent queen d5, like it's just not happening, so. Especially because queen d5 makes two threats. I don't think there's anything we can do about that. We're going b4. What are we doing here? Okay, there's nothing we can do about a5, but maybe we play rook b1 there. Okay, we're both kind of clinging onto our pawns, for dear life here. Ideal world for me, bishop to f4 before he plays that. It's not much we can do about this. Maybe this one right away was the way to go, just because there's going to be a ton of trades here and not ones that really benefit us, because this is a very temporary idea. I think we grab this. I don't know what other possibilities there might be there, but I think we'll just take it. D4 is always a little bit loose. I am just one of those players, like, I gotta play this. Gotta get it in there. G3, it makes me uncomfortable to think about that. Rook B5, at least, you know, you can lose. It's possible. Just gotta give him chances to make mistakes. But I think we'll probably see Queen A6 if I had to guess. Queen A7, also perfectly fine. If the bishop moves back, I'll definitely go to C7. So it's going to make a different / smarter decision. Let's take this. I think I'd rather keep the queens on here. Maybe put the bishop in there. Some kind of create some kind of threats. B7 is hanging. It's hanging twice, so I'm not gonna lie, it looks a little bit tough to defend. Take it, I guess. I feel that there's like almost some... Okay, yeah, it goes here. Yeah, I'm not sure about this. I mean, we kind of pin the bishop. The rook can come back to D7, however. And then if we, like, does he run out of moves here? You know what I mean? Is this something we can do anything with? I mean, he can't move as far as I can see. So I just feel like if the guy can't move, it has to be a reasonable position. Okay. So he allows this. Now we can go back. And now we have mate. And rook b2, I'm not even going to take it. Because then maybe, yeah, I don't know, f6, like something weird. Look, any position where the guy literally can't make a single move except shuffle his rook, that has to be good. Just from a practical standpoint. He's stuck. Has to be good. Well, yeah, this system against a fianchetto almost never leads to a, you know, kingside attack with a rook lift. This against maybe d5 has a much better chance, because then you get your standard like knight e5. So yeah, obviously any position where g6 is played, you're not getting your normal stuff like that. d6 with g6, we usually go for c4. So yeah, you can't just always have an attack with knight e5. It just doesn't make sense. If someone plays d6, well, that's the end of that dream. d4, let's see if we can make this work. Okay, we're up against d5. That usually tells me that The opponent is probably trying to get their bishop out. Okay, he's definitely trying to do that, making me for sure want to play g4 here, just because there's no other way for me to stop e5. And I basically won't tolerate a position where the guy plays e5 successfully. No way. Knight b6, a bit odd. Okay, we have these covered. Bishop takes, kind of a funny looking position. I'll take this way for the cube. For the cube. I'm a big fan of this move because it threatens bishop a3 and it threatens a5. So I think a4 is a very good move. a5 knight c8 is just kind of sucks. Hitting this, which means that I think this move makes sense. But if we use the queen here instead, maybe we could play something like knight f3 in the future. But I think I'll go here mainly because this bishop a3 looks so strong. And wow, he goes f6. I think we'll play bishop a3 next, surprisingly. Let's force the knight to a bad square, and let's play bishop a3. I haven't even really like thought of potential danger here. I was just thinking, I mean, this has to make sense, right? Like, how could we say no to this? Do we want to put that there? Definitely waiting for one of these moves, if not both. There's one. This one. It's kind of hard to tell which one to use. Queen here doesn't threaten anything, which is reassuring at least. He can't castle because of this knight just yet, so his king's a little bit stuck in the middle. Knight f3. He can play, yeah, even queen h4, to be honest, could be played now. I'm looking at this one, maybe that. I actually think the queen trade is probably good for us, but let's see. He can castle now, I should say that. That's an important move that he can play. We have knight f7 to follow that, but his king's not stuck in the middle. g3. Yeah, I feel like he has to castle here. I think I would castle. There's knight here, but yeah, I have a hard time believing it after knight f3, you know? I think I'll probably do this. It's almost like like I can't get to the H file, you know? Okay, that makes sense. Maybe do we keep some pieces on the board? Like, I'm just trying to keep something. We're a little bit worse, so feels like that makes sense. Also, knight takes b7. I just realized expecting king c7, but he goes king d7, so maybe there's hope. I don't know. A little a6, rook h1. Actually, this is a pretty serious threat here. It's a nice pre-move because it's a check. Maybe knight f2. That's actually a little bit funny because maybe it's beneficial for us. Yeah, we gotta... Yeah, it's actually so useful that he... Useful that he took the knight. Knights can be pretty troublesome for time scrambles as well, so... GG. Just extending the amount of moves in the game there by quite a bit, boosting everyone's accuracy for the game. You're welcome. Just a couple guys farming. Yeah, I don't feel good about g4 here, but I had been playing a bunch of games where, like here, for example, I would go like this first just to secure the e5 square. And if bishop g4, a lot of times I play bishop e2. Here, I had played so many games recently where the bishop was getting to f5, and I was like, let me do one first. But obviously, this is why we haven't been doing this move order, because the opponent just puts all the pieces on e5, and we just don't have enough time with this pin to get our knight in there, because I need a bunch of moves. So this was not the ideal move order, but it's also one that we haven't been using, and this is the reason. Okay, we might get yeah, I was gonna say this feels like a e6 game, so we're gonna play with c4 with knight c3, and we actually had one pretty much identical to this. So yeah, I think completely identical to this. Maybe it's the same guy. It's really feeling like the same same opponent. Let's just go here. Yeah, almost identical. Let's try this. He has to play knight a5, I think, but it's not the end of the world because... Oh, he plays knight e5. I thought the pieces would get too jumbled up here. Like, we have f4, e4. None of the pieces really have a place to go. So yeah, I think this is definitely a mistake. So after knight d7, we have g4 we could try. He goes here first. I think that's probably smart. Maybe... I was gonna say g4 right away. Not sure I trust this one, but... Okay, take this one. I think it's important. And the knight should have to leave, and then we can take this and like bring the bishop into e6. I have a feeling this game shouldn't last very long from here. Like, we should get a pretty nice attack. Knight has to retreat. All the pieces are over there. So the knight gets here, but oh my god, our bishop gets to e6. Like this shouldn't be close. B5 here. Okay, he's gonna go like that. Need this rook over here. We could even bring the other rook to g2. Because he has rook h6 to defend, but obviously we have f5 as well. I just think all of our pieces will make it. Okay, now the rook has to waste a bit of time here. All of our pieces are going to make it over here to help. Yep, it's going to be mate. Like I said, I'll be surprised if it lasts many more moves from here. I don't know if it's forced, but clearly position is not really defensible. That's right, MC. A circle that he was not planning to have them join. Not at all. Okay. Well, we might not get the white pieces to cross 2200, but we can certainly play one more game. All right. Let's go. And we do get a d4 game. Look at that. How nice. Definitely c4, right? Okay. Because he's going quickly with this move, I'm wondering about knight e4. Surprising move by our guy here, have to admit. Didn't really think he was capable. I think let's just go back. Bishop on e2 and then bishop out. Although maybe c4 is not necessarily the move after. Okay, he's giving up the light squared bishop. That shouldn't be what you want to do. Let's get the bishop out. Let's castle. We do want to play f6, but ooh, another like kind of weird move I didn't quite expect. We want to castle, but we don't quite have time for that. So again, we need to spend a move here. G6. Knight here, queen e7. I actually kind of like queen e7. It feels relatively safe. Almost like it prepares for f6. Because I'm not sure we need to deal with queen e6. Yeah, let's play f6. This position should be very good for us. Let's just be careful of this trade. Dark squared bishops, I would say here are pieces that we are not looking to have exchanged. I'm using this rook because I might want to play h5. In fact, I definitely want to play h5. So as you can see, very, very good that we did that because the move g4 there should not be good. Okay. Well, it's definitely pawns to be won. That's for sure. Yeah, I think just material to be won here. We take, we give this check, and king f2, bishop g3 should win the game. Just because king f3 also drops the bishop, so you kind of have to recapture on e1, and he's just going to resign. Okay, well that's nice. We get a nice quick win for 2200. We've actually had a few games. Yeah, we had a few games in this series where our king has actually moved up like this with the bishops, and I never mind it. I don't know. It feels super safe. It's kind of weird. In this case, it was because the queens were off. But if you guys remember, with the white pieces, we've had a number of games where our king is on d2 and the queens are fully on the board. In both cases, I don't really mind. I don't really feel like our king is very unsafe or anything. Thank you for making it to the end of another episode of the Colle Zukertort speedrun.
It's definitely one of the easiest attacking weapons to learn in chess, so I hope that this series is making it easier to understand. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already and turn on post notifications so you do not miss our next episode.